When Beto O'Rourke brought his presidential campaign to downtown Austin last month, Mayor Steve Adler gave him an enthusiastic speech at his rally. But last week, there was Adler on stage in South Bend, Indiana, with Pete Buttigeig, the Democrat wonderkin who has been turning up the pressure on the bigger names in the Democratic primary for 2020. Phil Prazan sat down with the mayor and asked him his reason for the change.
You passed up not one, but two Texans in the race and decided to endorse Mayor Pete Buttigeig for president. Tell me about that decision.
When I got elected 5 years ago, I was advised to reach out to the best mayors in the country and find the one or couple that I wanted to most emulate and thought I could learn from. And having gone through that search, it turned out to be this 32-year-old mayor in South Bend. Beto and Julian, I think, are great. They're wonderful people, and I am friends with both of them and like them a lot. But my relationship with Pete is a little bit closer.
A couple weeks ago, I was at the Beto O'Rourke rally here in Austin, and you introduced Beto O'Rourke. In my mind, I was saying, Mayor Adler is going to be in Team Beto. Talk to me about how the process went for Mayor Pete to get you into his camp.
Well, it was my intent to be, as mayor, someone who welcomed all the candidates to town. And I certainly did that for Beto and was happy to do that because I also like him a lot. But I think that's kind of the thing that a mayor's supposed to do when candidates come to town calling. But then I got a call from Pete, who asked me to participate in his launch and in fact, to be the person who would introduce him.
Let's switch topics to Senate Bill 2 in the legislature now. It passed the Senate, and they raised the 2.5% to 3.5% of the cap. Does that make it any better for you?
No, it does not. You know, this Senate Bill 2 and House Bill 2 cut tens of millions out of the city budget and offers people in our community pennies of any measure of tax relief. Our fixed expenses, health insurance, wages, the rent we pay on buildings, the things that exist in our existing budget, if we didn't do anything but just adopt last year's budget this year with those things in it, we find that we have to spend about 3.8% more just to keep up with inflation.
The big three leaders up there, Bonin, Patrick, Abbott, they're looking at the property tax reform and the school finance as working together. $9 billion more in school finance. Is that a package that, you know, while you don't like the property tax stuff, you'd be willing to accept because of the money in school finance?
I reject the suggestion that those two things have to be linked. You know, the fact is that the state has been, through its school finance laws, have been pushing higher and higher and higher the school property taxes we pay. I told you again, almost a 400% increase over the last 5 years. And that's what people are feeling.
So is it a win in the legislature if they if we get to the end of May and they just leave you alone?
The things that we really need the legislature to do to ensure that our property taxes go down and our schools are good. We need them to find funding to be able to do roads, to fund I-35 so that we can do the kinds of projects on I-35 that we just did on Mopac North. That's the work we need our legislature to do. We don't need the legislature micromanaging the residents of the city of Austin on the social and cultural choices that they make.
Well, Mayor Adler also said he believes state lawmakers are unfairly targeting Austin as well as several other cities run by Democrats. Some legislation being considered at the Capitol would cut back the power of local governments.